So both Kent and I think, were brought up in the church. We, grew up in homes where we went to church on Sundays, and we do consider ourselves faith-based. But somewhere along the line, we moved around a lot, and we got away from going to church. So I think, we met Mike and Kate through CrossFit a couple of years ago, well, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago now. And once we met them and got to know them and what they were about, we certainly said to each other, when we go back to church, it wasn't if, when we go back to church, that's where we're going to go. And, but weeks turned into months, and months turned into years, and we had all kinds of things going on and excuses, and so it took us a while to get there.
I met Kent and Kelly in 2017 when I started going to their CrossFit box, and we fell in love with Kent and Kelly immediately. Kelly has always been sweet to us and sweet to my kids, and we've just had so much in common. And then Kent, when I met Kent, I thought, that's me. And from the future, I just discovered time travel, and clearly I've traveled back in time to tell myself something I need to hear, because I've just always looked up to Kent, who he is, what he represents, what he believes in, and he's a man of honor and integrity and respect, and just the entire Wagner family, even Haley, who babysat and watched my kids. There are certain people that you love so much that you don't judge them, but you look at their life and you see that they don't have a church home, and you don't know where they are in their faith journey, and you want to make sure they know Jesus so bad, and they're already great, good people, but you just know, like, man, I don't know if they have a relationship with Jesus, but gosh, I want them to. And man, I want their life to be better, and I want them to be better at life, and I just want to be sure. And so you start inviting them, and that's exactly what we started doing with Kent and Kelly. Is, every once in a while I would drop a hint of a new series I was doing or something, and Kent would always tell me, like, well, I'm gonna come one day, and when I do, I'm gonna sit on the front row, and you're not gonna be able to get rid of me. So one of these days. And no one else knows this, but I have a list on my phone of people I pray for every day. And back in 2017, I put Kent and Kelly on that list. And every day I prayed for them, and I prayed that, God, I don't know when this is going to happen, but man, like, please, whether it be my church or another church, help them to find a church home, help them to reconnect with you. And I prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed for that.
One Saturday, we were up at Sugar Fire, ironically, for a volleyball tournament. And this little guy came up to me and said, you're my BFF. Well, I was done. I was almost retired from the government, so I thought I was over acronyms. So I had to figure out what that was. And then I found out Best Friends Forever. Well, that was Braden Davis that made that statement to me. And then he ran away, and then he came back. He goes, I would really like you to go to church.
So why did you invite Mr. Kent to church?
Because he's my BFF and I love him.
And truly, it was a while after that before we came, but that was like a lightning bolt coming from a little man like that. They had the foresight to make that statement, and it stuck with me and Kelly. And it's a big reason why we came back to hear that from such an innocent young man, it was wonderful.
Our daughter led the way because she said she was going to church with or without us, and so that was sort of the incentive that we needed to get ourselves to walk through that door, and it's just been an amazing experience. Can't believe we waited that long.
That's the part of being back in church now for me and Kelly, I believe, that it just brings the teachings of the Lord relevant how it applies to today's world. And it seems like, if not every message I'm in church for, at least every other one, it seems like I'm having a personal conversation with, whether it's Mike this weekend, it was his father, Brian, Ashley the other weekend, and it just, it's like it just speaks directly to where, and Mike always says it, meet us where we are, Lord. And I mean, that's exactly what's happened. And it's just amazing to see that process and to embrace it and really be a part of it and try to live your life that way from that point forward.
I think probably, yesterday is so relevant. Yesterday was a very special day for us. Our daughter has a beautiful voice, and she's done talent shows and different things over the years. But yesterday she sang for the first time in church, and I can't talk about that.
It's all right.
Just to see her use her gift in such a beautiful and positive way, connecting with people, and I know she felt it, and I think the congregation felt it. And our worship team is amazing. I mean, just even the mentorship that she's getting through the worship team is just literally a godsend. And she has a story to tell. That's her story to tell, not ours. I'm not gonna do that for her. But it's something that church has just been very positive for her. I also think that I'm not supposed to have any regrets in life, but one of the things that I know a lot of times we talk about in the sermon, I don't know what it's like to raise children in this world right now. Our children are, they kind of experience a little bit of it, but they're out of it. Kind of got to them on the back end of them being teenagers, but just the amount of influence that they have in today's world with social media and everything. The one regret that I do have is that we did not take our kids to church and, so focused on their physical health, their mental health. I feel like we did neglect their spiritual health as well as our own. And it is just so important to make that commitment to at least introduce your children to church. They can decide certainly for their own, but they're being influenced by something, somebody, somewhere in today's world. And I just think as a parent, it's important to have that commitment